All right, people, this might be it. This might be the time we were all waiting for. I'm using might because based on what is happening after hours since the market closed, all right? Since today, I also posted 3 videos and things are changing rapidly, all right? So now I do have something that I believe it's a confirmation that this might be the time. But as always, there is a but because there are always two sides of every story. There are always two faces of every coin. So let's get into the details. If you haven't paid attention, um, the meme stocks, all right? The meme stocks are running again. The meme stocks are running again, and pretty much all the media outlets are just they are spreading these news, which is good because it gives visibility to what is actually happening. And when you look and see exactly where I'm going with this, you get to the conclusion that, well, maybe we are in for a very, very interesting treat. First thing, AMC 11% after hours. You will think maybe it's an AMC thing, all right? Because we've been chasing the pump and AMC was supposed to be the king of the meme stock, maybe GameStop. Nobody knows. But not to pick sides here, this is not an AMC thing. Why? Because GameStop is really the one kind of, driving the pool here. Gained 31% today and after hours 17% up. And then looking at KOSS, well, KOSS almost doing the same thing as GameStop. Gained 30% today during the trading session and after hours is already up 20%. And then you look at BlackBerry, up 6%. Didn't do as much compared to the other meme stocks today, but after hours this is already going big. And then we have BlackBerry. BlackBerry 5%, which is good, and then after hours 30.6%. Now, what is the reason? What is what is the trigger? What did cause this whole thing to even start with? Well, first of all, if you look at what happened with GameStop, because GameStop was really pulling the chart. It was the bull pulling the chart here. Ryan Cohen, which is the new CEO of GameStop, for quite some months now, scoops up 100,000 more shares of GameStop. Meme stock soars as much as 20% after hours. All right. So Ryan Cohen is the chairman. He's the CEO. He's the one who was supposed to bring GameStop to the next level. And he has some very interesting ideas from Web 3.0 to NFT space to crypto space, etc., etc. But the bottom line is he wants to take GameStop to the next level. All right. And he has the ability to do that because he is a billionaire. Actually, he sold another company in the e-commerce space, and since then he's known kind of a genius in the industry, in that specific industry. So he bought 100,000 shares of the video chain, bringing this ownership to the company to 12%, almost 12%, as the activist investor tries to push the company into e-commerce. Remember, I shared with you last week, a couple of days ago, when Adam Aaron was it's all connecting now, man. When Adam Aaron bought that Highcroft gold mine stake worth $28 million, right? That was around 22% ownership. Everybody was kind of freaking out. What is Mr. Aaron doing? All right. But at the same time, GameStop CEO was also making a move to take ownership into Bed Bath & Beyond, and now he's taking some shares on GameStop, and he tweeted afterwards, back then, something along the lines like, man, the shorts are going to be so hurt. Something around those lines. It wasn't texto per what he said, but it was something around those lines. And I shared that with you in a video a couple of weeks ago. And I was using that to show that this is not a coincidence, because something might be brewing behind the scenes. And I bet that this might be the move. Because if you do a quick math, all right, 100,000 shares. And by the time GameStop started running, that was really before, after earnings. And after earnings, the share price was around $90, 80 something to 90. All right. So if you do $100, 100 shares times 90, it gives you to 9 million. All right. That's roughly $9 million. Let's just say $10 million. The guy puts $10 million into a stock that was supposed to go to, 25 or 50. All right. Because that is a short story that GameStop, BlackBerry, Bed Bath & Beyond, KOSS, and AMC were supposed to go back to zero. Because if you look at the price targets on this stock, everything was going back to pre-pandemic level prices, which is obviously and seriously sickening, because if you look at the amount of people who are buying and holding these shares, it doesn't matter if it's GameStop, AMC. I mean, the number is growing every single day, and I've been growing for the last year and a half. All right, so it doesn't even make sense without a short squeeze. Now, the thing is, the two scenarios now, after this triggering, we have to look at two scenarios, all right? And the first one is we might be really looking at the time where, AMC was supposed to start doing what everybody here since January of last year expected it to do. And it's kind of weird because we all said many times here that the trigger or something or the catalyst that was actually going to hit and start the fire to spread like a wildfire into this thing, burning the short sellers, was a mix of everything. And when you look at what is happening in Russia, when you look at what is happening in China with Evergrande, if you look at what is happening with geopolitics, if you look at what is happening with inflation and talks about recession and stagflation and everything, these were already tight conditions for a short seller in these stocks, in the meme stocks. And by tight, I'm being really, really, really optimistic, not to say really, really overstretched, because these guys, to make sure that these prices were staying at the levels they were staying with the amount of buying pressure that was redirected through the dark pools that we already know, man, it needed to have a lot of money. Like they needed to go overextendedly over the margins. But if they were using Russia bonds as collaterals, it doesn't mean anything now, because Citigroup, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley were already losing billions of dollars that were not even disclosed to the regulators and the authorities into how much money they've been investing in Russia. If you look at Evergrande, we already knew that the bonds they were using for the developers in China, like Evergrande, is also worth close to $0. So a bank like Bank of America or Citigroup, which is already set to take a hit in double digits $billion with what is happening either in China or in Russia, well, they will be likely not to give you the same amount of liquidity moving forward, especially given the fact that money is going to be a lot more cheaper, a lot more expensive, especially if Jerome Powell moves with double the target in increasing interest rates. So just to say that they were already tight, and this move will bring an additional buying pressure not coming from the short sellers. Because if the CEO is putting $10 million worth into a stock that is supposed to go down, this is a good recipe. This is a magic story for the shorts to get burnt. And that is precisely what we're seeing here on all of these stocks, starting with GameStop. But because we know the short sellers in here are also in AMC and KOSS and BlackBerry and Bed Bath & Beyond, it's just a matter of the ball is rolling, So the next thing I'm expecting here is, okay, based on what may happen tomorrow at pre-market, because we've been observed and experienced many times that AMC was up 10% after hours and it closed in the red the following day, because the short will be shorts and they will do whatever they need to do in order to maintain the price at a certain level. But this time is a little bit different because Ryan Cohen is not a single retailer. So when it buys, you can actually see the damage of the buying pressure he's putting into the stock. And of course, with the conditions on the other side already being tight, as I mentioned earlier, it was just a matter of what will be the next thing to bring this to cause them to get out. So if pre-market tomorrow we still have these same levels of gains, and it maintains the very first half of the trading session, then we might see big numbers coming. Maybe we could go back to, I don't know, the 25, the 28, the 30 for AMC. Because remember, I told you that this move here triggered a lot of buying pressure because it signals confidence into the future of GameStop. So if the future of GameStop is so bright to pull the CEO of putting $10 million in addition to what he already pulled, then it means there is something in the pipe coming that will make GameStop a game changer. obviously people are going to follow that. And that's why I'm saying if we have all these maintained by tomorrow, by the end of the closing session or the first half of the first trading session, then we might expect to see the big numbers coming up, maybe the 30s, maybe the 35, maybe the 40s. I don't know. It depends on how much the short sellers will have to close, because we have shorts at every single major, because we do have shorts that came here at 40. We do have other shorts that came at 35, others that came at 30 on 25. So as we go up, these will get kicked out, and by getting kicked out, they will have to bring the share price up and up and up and up and up. So I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow we see 50% or maybe 100%. But again, remember, nothing is guaranteed in the stock market. Tomorrow we can also see these closing in the red, because it's already happened in the past. There is nothing guaranteed and nothing preventing it from not also happening again here. So just to say that, be careful, all right? This is another confirmation that when you have conviction in a play, like I mentioned earlier in another video, man, if you are patient enough, it will pay off.